And so there was this one day where it wasn't raining, and Kareem was getting like buckets of water like thrown on him, and it was so cold because it was the end of December when we shot this. And so he was dying, as one would, and his brain just like short circuited, and he was just like, I can't do this shit, man. Like he was like going crazy, and I kind of had to like grab him by the shoulders and be like, just talk to me, like just me and you, like how we were doing it when we wrote this.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Mary Neely is an actor. She sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character?
I think the number one thing is just learning the lines backwards and forwards. I don't really have like a crazy thing that I do. I'm not like, okay, now I'm gonna journal and I'm gonna collage and I'm gonna make like notebooks filled with the past of my character. Like I don't personally do that. I don't think that's bad. I think that's fun. I love arts and crafts, and I think anything that helps anyone is great. But for me, like, I love just knowing what I'm saying and using the text only, really, to begin with.
And we're talking now about stuff you didn't write, of course, right? Because
yes.
That's different. It's different when it's stuff you wrote.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So the stuff you didn't write, there is something in the writing that gives you all the clues you need toward this character.
Yeah, I've studied a lot of different acting techniques from the time I was like very young, because I was really nerdy about acting. Like I wanted to know everything. And so I've, read, I went to theater school. So it was like, I've read and, exercised like Uta Hagen and Meisner and all these different approaches, Stanislavski, like, okay, like what works for me? And actually, when I moved to New York, I started going to the Barrow Group, which was created by Seth Barish and his wife, Lee Brock. And I took a class with Lee Brock, and it was exactly what I'm talking about now. And it helped me so much, where their whole approach is like literally improvising with the lines. So making the lines feel fresh every time, but being really beholden to the text. So like memorizing the text as if like you could just repeat it at any moment, starting from any moment. So you don't have to like start from the beginning. You can be thrown in at any time during a scene. You know exactly what's happening. And you don't make that many inferences based on anything unless it's clearly written about.
Yeah.
Because it actually frees you up more than creating some sort of backstory or expectation that the actor is putting on the text.
Yeah.
And it's helped me so much, because I think like actors, and I've seen it when I'm also directing people, it's like actors want to be like really dramatic and like want to be yelling and screaming. And it's like, if you think about your own real life, unless you're in some horrific relationship that you can't get out of, you're usually not really yelling and screaming that much.
Yeah.
You're actually trying not to.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to be amenable. Like everyone's just trying to like get through their day, And so it's more interesting to hold that in.
Yes.
Than be this like really outwardly emotional person.
Yes.
So I don't know. For me, like I just read the script multiple times, and I do this thing when I memorize lines where I have like a big notebook that's like printer paper size, but it's a notebook and it has lines on it, like a lined paper.
Yeah.
And then I will write down, like I'll do a version where I write down my lines only, because I'm also like very visual person. So like I memorize by looking at things, and then I'll repeat them, but I memorize things the best when I'm visualizing it. I have like kind of a semi-photographic memory, where I can like remember what I was wearing, you know, in like the 6th grade to like the dance, or you know what I mean? Like, and so I like I go with the script and I write down like every line that I have, and then I leave a blank space for the other person's line, and I do the whole scene that I'm doing, or the scenes or whatever. And then I like practice it where I'm looking at my line and then I'm visualizing in my mind what the other person is saying, to really understand like what is actually being said.
Yeah.
And like being like, okay, this is what's literally happening in the scene.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll reverse it, where I'll write down the other person's lines, and then I'll leave a blank space for my lines, and then I'll write the other person's line. And then I'll go through and I'll like read their lines, and then I'll say my line and test myself to see if I know it. And it's like just memorizing the whole thing. And then like the given circumstances are obviously really important, but that's in the text.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is why I'm always shocked when actors want to like start crossing things out. You know, like the way something is described as being said. That's like become a thing. I'm like, why are you starting to cross stuff out? Like, aren't these clues to what is going on in the scene?
I think it can get dicey. I think it can be something that isn't helpful when actors are revising a script without working with the writer. But, you know, there's like, I think David Mamet had this thing where he was like, if we're in rehearsal and an actor says a line wrong like more than 3 times, I need to change that line.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like there is sometimes like a symbiotic relationship that like an actor and a writer can have.
Yeah.
And I feel like when an actor is crossing out maybe like a parenthetical, I don't think that's necessarily that bad unless it's really necessary for what's happening in the scene. So
but isn't
like,
it always necessary for what's happening in the scene?
I guess, I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that's almost like devil's advocate now, and maybe I'm going back on my own belief system. But
well,
like,
you weren't really talking about what I'm talking about, to be fair, right? Because you were talking about just the lines. Now we're talking about like how the lines are said.
yeah.
So maybe you're saying like,
Well, I think here's the thing. Like, sometimes there's no parenthetical in a line, right? But the next person's line, like the other character's line, is like, whoa, 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 calm down.
Yeah.
So that the actor who's saying that first line has to do something that allows the other person to be like, whoa, 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 calm down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that, to me, like, you can't change that.
Right.
But like, if there's a sort of moment that is a little bit open to interpretation, but then it's like, says it, like the writer's like, says it this way, or like has like a, you know, like whispers or like da-da-da. It's like, that's a preference by the writer. But maybe that might not serve the scene every single time, especially in a play, because you have to find the nuance and new things every time.
Right, right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. And but I would always just think like, if on night 7 it's feeling like I shouldn't whisper this, that I'm going against what the writer is wanting for the scene. And so that's why I can't act. This is why I can't. I mean, I just get so in my head about this.
I think trying to adhere to the text as much as possible is always the best, just because that's what we're doing. That's
Right.
literally just what we're doing. We're like doing these lines, we're telling this story.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess it becomes like it becomes contentious if an actor feels like it's inhibiting them in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many like things that I've learned from trying different jobs, I guess, like POVs in the filmmaking process or whatever. I've also done directing like plays and stuff as well, but mostly film. And a thing that surprised me in the feature that I co-wrote with my friend Kareem Rahma, and we act in it as well, is like, so much of the text is based on our real thoughts and just conversations that we had, where we would choose a topic and transcribe our real conversations about that topic. But we had a structure for the script that we were working with. So we added, certain things to certain parts of the script or took away things. And it was really us just trying to be as honest as possible. Like that was our intention from the beginning. Like, okay, we're going to just say what we really think under the guise of these characters.
Yeah.
We know we have to reach like this location at this point and this action happens at this point. But other than that, we're kind of just talking.
Yeah.
And, it was really interesting where we wrote the script. We did multiple drafts of the script. We got it to the place where we were filming it. We filmed it. And then when we brought in our editor, Pete O's, I was shocked at just the way that we could really trim stuff down or move things around that I hadn't considered, because I think, and I know for myself, like, and I think other people can relate to this too, of like this feeling of, do you get my point? I'm going to keep saying the same thing in a different way because I don't know if you've understood what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it, it's like, yeah, we get it. You don't have to keep trying to say it.
Yeah.
And so when we were working with Pete, it was like, oh my God, cut that.
Yeah.
I just said that like 5 seconds ago. Why am I basically saying the same thing reworded in a different way, but I thought it was a new point?
Isn't that interesting?
You know?
Yeah.
And so that was so helpful to be in every part of that process from the very beginning of writing the script and then acting in it.
Yeah.
And then watching the edit process.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we can just really be trimming it down.
Yeah.
You know, and not having to be so worried that someone's going to get it. But then it becomes like my own neuroses where I'm like, maybe I have to apply this to my whole life. Like, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, do you get it? Do you get it? Like,
yes. And how close are these characters to you two?
Very close.
Yeah, because you're transcribing actual conversations. I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. I mean, there are, of course, certain details about the characters that we had to make up, but are still rooted in a lot of truth.
Yeah.
And are very much versions of me and Kareem. Yeah. And like, I kind of see it as a time capsule version of myself though, because we started writing this in the latter part of 2021. And this was, of course, after we had all come out of lockdown. Right. And I was reading a lot online and I had a lot of really strong opinions about things. And I was really like just angry. I was just like annoyed and angry all the time. And that's what this character is, you know? And I don't feel exactly the same anymore, but it is, I still agree with many things and I disagree with many things that I say in that movie. And I don't know, it's interesting.
It must be interesting to see it now, and just be like, all right, this is, like you said, like a time capsule. And it's like, but it still was, and I think people should be doing this more. Like, one version of an independent film is just play a version of yourself with your friend. Yeah. Talk and have it be interesting because you're interesting, right? If you know the two of you are interesting, create a scenario where you could be basically playing yourself in the situation. And it's going to be interesting then. Yeah. This is kind of all we want. I don't know why people try to do crazy ambitious things. All we really want is to be engaged with two characters.
Yeah, if you have natural chemistry with someone and you're not just kind of futzing around, there is like definitely a kind of company that it feels like you're keeping when you're watching a movie like that.
Yes. Now you were doing shorts and stuff like that, and of course you were doing your own little videos. What do you call them? Theater, your theater videos, stuff like that. So you were writing and directing shorts and stuff like this, but for this feature, you got a director. Yeah. And why? What was the reason for that? I
mean, Kareem has never had the ambition to be a director. He is a writer and content creator, and he doesn't have a lot of acting experience, or he didn't have a lot of acting experience before we made this. And because me and him were at this equal playing field of being the co-writers and the stars of the film, I just didn't feel like I should direct it.
That's interesting.
Because I felt like the balance would be off.
Yeah.
And he agreed, like it was never something that either of us wanted. Like neither of us wanted me to direct it. He didn't want to direct it. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to co-direct it. Yeah. So it's really just the idea of like us being co-writers and having that other person and that other vision coming in to facilitate the thing that we've been even keeled on, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. How did you get David Zayas? I love his little character in this.
Oh, he's great. I mean, what a guy.
Yeah.
Such a professional, so sweet. We literally just put an offer out to his reps, and he said yes, so cool. Which was really lucky. He's truly such a nice guy.
And talk about a New York legend.
New York icon, yeah.
Icon of the theater scene. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Mm-hmm. And there's another legend in this that we don't get to hear. We just see her react, and I was like, oh my God, that's
Meg McCary.
Boom.
Yeah, so I did a play with Meg McCary maybe like 6 months before we shot this movie.
Oh, nice. What was that?
It was a play called Minotaur by Matthew Gazda.
Yes.
And we did it in Dumbo at a photography studio, and it was me and Bob Lane.
Oh my God. So this is going back way before the current Gazda studio.
Yes, this is pre-Brooklyn Center for Theater Institute. What is it called? Brooklyn Theater Center?
Center for Theater Research.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. The Institute. But yeah, so I did that play in the summer of 2022. And it was Bob Lane, Meg McCary, me, Cassidy Grady, and George Oleski.
And was that the first version of Minotaur?
I think it was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So 6 days seems like an insanely short amount of time to do a feature film.
It is. I wouldn't recommend it.
But because it's mainly the two of you, because the two of you wrote it, because you didn't have to like worry about actors kind of struggling with material or not having enough rehearsal time or whatever, I'm sure that all helped, right? I mean, you guys are basically like, all right, we're doing our material. And it's just about doing it in a way that's going to be where we feel free to do it in a way where we don't feel like there's a time constraint. Were you able to, like, when you did sit down, for instance, at the diner, did you still have your professorial hat on and thinking, we only have a certain amount of time to get this?
Our AD was amazing.
That is a very key thing, right? In a short amount of time to have an amazing AD.
Florian is his name. He's amazing. And I trusted him. And Dan and Jeffrey and Sophia and Flo, they all mapped out exactly what we needed. And for me, like, I always, regardless of like having a producerial hat, like I'm like, I gotta get this shit, man. Like, I don't wanna, cause I'm really aware of the crew. Like, I'm like, I don't wanna be dragging stuff out, you know? Like, I don't wanna be that person. And so it doesn't matter. I could be on any project and that's what I'm thinking or whatever. But, you know, I guess also about your point, like, it is just me and Kareem. And so in the moments where, you know, we were sort of like getting tripped up on stuff, I was like, let's just talk like how we did when we wrote the script. We don't have to be word perfect on this. Right. Like, just tell me the story.
Yeah.
You know, and there was one day where Kareem, okay, so when you watch the film, I'm wearing this like kind of checkered-ish wool coat, and Kareem's wearing like a kind of tan, like almost like camel hair type coat. Yeah. with a green hoodie underneath. And I'm wearing a dark navy beanie.
Yeah.
And I think on the first or second day we were filming, it rained.
Oh.
And you couldn't see the water on my costume. You could see it in my hair, like on the bottom part of my hair under the hat. But you could totally see it on Kareem's. And so we had to match that for continuity.
Oh, geez.
And so there was this one day where it wasn't raining, and Kareem was getting like buckets of water like thrown on him, and it was so cold because it was the end of December when we shot this. And so
God.
he was dying, as one would, and his brain just like short circuited. And he was just like, I can't do this shit, man. Like he was like going crazy. And I kind of had to like grab him by the shoulders and be like, just talk to me.
Yeah.
Like just me and you, like how we were doing it when we wrote this, you know, like, and it was this scene where we're talking about God and our belief systems and stuff. And I was like, fuck whatever we wrote. Just like literally we're going to have a conversation right now. Cause he was like, I'm so sorry. He felt so bad. And he was just like totally like spent, you know, which I get. And I felt really bad for him because I was all cozy with just like the tips of my hair like kind of wet or whatever, you know? Yeah.
This is the kind of thing like, you know, people who don't do independent low budget things, they don't realize the mountains like this that you have to climb, the hurdles like this that you have to perform in just to like get through the day. And like this is another example of that. It's almost like an endurance test sometimes, isn't it?
No, fully an endurance test, absolutely, in so many ways. Because I mean, for me and Kareem, like we were raising money for the film. We still were up until not that long ago.
Yeah.
And that is an endurance test in itself. And then you're adding everything else on top of it.
Right.
It is so hard to keep focused and keep going.
Yes.
And and then you're like on the day and you're like, oh my God, everyone's here.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing it. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, Kareem had never memorized anything like this. And so he really stepped up. He did he's so good in the movie. He did such a good job. But I remember him being like, let's just wing it. Like, I think we should just improvise. And I was like, no.
Yeah, good call.
And I like basically was like, okay, so we're FaceTiming tomorrow night and we're memorizing the third scene. Yeah. And at first he kind of protested and then he did it. And now he's like, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. And you know, we didn't have holding. We didn't have, I mean, there were like some holding moments where we were like at like a actual house and we had like some chairs that we could sit in. But like when we were out and about, it was like if Kareem hadn't had his car, he has a car, we wouldn't have had anywhere to have heat and like sit, you know what I mean? Like it was just that kind of movie where it was just like, we're just going to figure out how to do it no matter what. And I quickly learned that if I didn't have a heat pad on the top and bottom of my foot, on each foot, I turn into a monster person. So sorry to everyone.
Yes. When you guys decided to do this, were you both thinking this is a vehicle to show ourselves as actors, or were you thinking like this is a vehicle to show ourselves as writers? So many actors have to do something like this just to be able to do interesting material. They have to write it themselves. They have to find a way to make it. That's the way. That's the world we live in right now. Were you just like, you know, I'm not being offered enough cool things. Let me just do this on my own to show that I could do it.
That was my thinking when I was like 22 years old. Is I got out of theater school and I was like, yikes, what's going on, folks? These roles are really scary for women. Girl number 2 with no thoughts. Like, do you know what I mean? So because this was a minute ago.
Yeah.
And so pre-Me Too, you know what I
Right.
mean? So I was like, well, I'm just going to write stuff and direct stuff only so I can further my acting career. And then everyone was like, wait, you should keep doing the writing and the directing. And I had an identity crisis, sort of like imposter syndrome for a few years where I was like, I don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go to school for it. I never wanted to be this. I'm just doing it so I can be an actor. And then I was like, I have to get over this. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
right.
actually annoying because I was getting like general meetings with like executives and production companies who were like, okay, so what are you writing? What are you directing? And I would be like, I'm not a writer. Be like, well, you wrote this thing that we're having a meeting about, so I don't know why you're saying that. So
That's funny.
I just like kind of had this acceptance moment like earlier in my 20s or whatever where I was like, okay, this is me, I guess. And so now, like when I moved to New York a year after I made these viral videos that I had made in my apartment that I posted on Twitter that became way bigger than I ever thought they were going to be. And there was a software developer named Will Shipley who works at Apple, and he watched all of my work and was like, I really believe in you. And I want to just like give you some seed money to make something. And I did not believe him.
Yeah.
I was like, sure, buddy. Like, that's what they all say.
Yeah.
And then when I was in New York in 2021, he was like, I'm serious, by the way. And I was like, okay, I don't want to pass this opportunity up.
Yeah.
And I want to be really intentional. And I had just met Kareem at a comedy show, and we had immediately gotten into like an argument, but we didn't hate each other. We were just like, okay, I don't think so, but you're cool, whatever. And then I just had always wanted to make kind of like an indie movie in New York, like about just like a walk and talk. Like I just was like, I want my like indie New York moment.
Yeah.
That I've always just wanted. I wasn't thinking like as an actor, as a writer, like I just was like, I just want to make that movie. And Kareem posted on his Instagram a screenshot of the movie La Haine, the French movie. And he was like, I'm quitting comedy until somebody casts me in a movie like this. I swear I can do it. And I was like, I'll cast you. And he was like, really? I promise I'm good. And I was like, yeah, I want to make my like indie New York movie. Do you want to do it? And he was like, yeah.
Wow. Oh, cool.
And I was like, yeah, I have this guy who's going to give us like a little bit of money. We'll need to raise more, but let's do it. And he was like, okay.
Wow, that's amazing. And he didn't have Subway stories at the time.
Subway takes.
Subway takes.
No. Subway stories.
So that came after you guys filmed this?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so we started writing this at the end of 2021. Fall, maybe like late summer, fall 2021. And then we shot it at the very end of 2022. And I think Keep the Meter Running, which is like his other show, maybe he had done like a couple episodes, or he did them right after we shot the film. And then maybe 6 months later, he started putting out 6 months after we shot the movie, he started putting out Subway Takes.
I see.
But it didn't gain, I mean, it was popular, but it didn't gain the popularity that it has now until probably
a couple months ago.
I mean, like in the last probably 8 months, I would say.
Yeah.
This is...
And that's good for this film, right? I mean, now,
it's amazing.
Yeah, now that you've kind of like, maybe people would have known you, but they may not have known him, and now they know both of you kind of, and there might be, I mean, I'm just saying there's a whole section of people that might be interested in this because of that. And that's good too.
Well, it's all feeding into each other in this really kind of synchronistic, crazy way where like literally me and him bonded when we met each other in real life over like having conversations and debating like hot topics.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? And so that was the basis of why we wrote the movie.
Yeah.
We make a whole movie predicated on that idea.
Yeah.
And then he makes that into his career, essentially.
Yeah.
And then it really takes off.
Yeah,
and now we have a movie that is immortalizing that vibe right at the time that, you know, he's at the like height of his popularity or whatever.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So how did Factory 25 get involved? Did Matt just see this somewhere, or did you send it to Matt?
So back in November of 2024, this guy Stephen Hanley, who makes this series called Deeper Into Movies. It's like a website and an Instagram, and they have a screening series in London. Asked us to like show the film, and so we were in London doing 2 nights of just showing the movie there. And I have seen the movie so many times that every time it plays now, I'm like, I'm gonna go get food and then come back for the Q&A. And so I asked Steven, I was like, do you want to go hang out? He was like, yeah, let's go get ice cream. So we were like walking in London and having ice cream, and I was like, dude, who is like IFC in the early 2000s but now?
Yeah.
Because IFC's model used to be like, let's give, you know, Joe Swanberg would make a movie for $10,000 with his friends, and then they would like buy it for, you know, 20 or 25. I don't know. I'm like making these numbers up, but like then he would have, okay, now I have 20,000 for my next movie, or I have 10,000 for my next movie. I'm going to keep doing that, you know, and like actually they would actually buy these really low budget and at the time mumblecore style films. And I was like, IFC is just not like that anymore. They're a huge, like bigger company that has much more polished films. They've, you know, developed a lot since in the last like 25 years, like whatever. And Steven was like Factory 25. Like Matt Grady is what IFC was in like, you know, 2002 or whatever. And so Kareem and I, you know, got into a taxi cab like after the screening that night, and I was like, you should have your manager send Matt Grady a link to the film. And that's what happened. And then Matt was like, yeah, I want to distribute this movie.
That's so cool. You are a theater lover. That's not, we're not going to say that in the past tense, right? You didn't love the theater, now you're a film person, right? You still love the theater.
Of course, yeah.
What is your ultimate place where you are able to express yourself as an actor the way you want to ideally?
I mean, I would love to be in just a really stellar play with amazing actors who are like a family. That's always why I have liked doing performance. When I was a little kid, it was like, okay, this is my family now. I'm gonna do a play with all these people, and we're all just like hanging out every day, you know? And that's what a film set can be like as well. And the crew and everyone's in it together. But there's something really special about a play company. And I would love to be just doing a play that really touches on subject matter that I am really drawn to, that, you know, just makes me laugh really hard and I don't get sick of. I think a lot of the best things, like there are some movies I can watch over and over and over again and still find something new in each one, and that exists in plays as well. I want to do that with movies too, but there's just like something about plays that I've always just come back to and like love so much. And the immediacy and, you know, the live aspect of it and just finding something new. Of course, there are just realities of that I think a lot of people don't realize that can be so challenging. And I have a lot of friends who do Broadway, and it's not really glamorous, you know, like especially if you're in a certain kind of show that is really physically demanding and it really burns people out. And so I don't know. Like I spoke with a friend of mine who did a play on Broadway with a bunch of British actors. And she said that there was this like freedom that they all had and like a jovial kind of attitude versus a lot of American actors who are so serious about everything and like, I have to go home and I have to stretch and I have to like put like lozenges in my throat and like whatever. It's like, sure, like I don't want to knock that. Like that is important because it is like a marathon, but there's like a element to the Brits where they're just like, now we're going to like go for a pint after the show and we're all just going to shoot the shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I don't drink, I'm sober, but I'm like, I want to shoot the shit.
Yeah.
I'll have my Diet Coke and I'll shoot the shit with you.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing that really keeps me like in this. And like, that's what I really want.
Yes. Mary Neely, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.